Hello and welcome to a new appointment with the Moebius Chronicles. Today we are taking a look at 2001 after Jesus Christ. And before I begin, I would like to thank my friend Alex, who heard I did not have this in my collection yet and generously donated it to me so that I could review it on this channel. So Alex, if you're watching, I really appreciate this. A lot of viewers asked for me to review this book, so thanks to you, we can now all take a deeper look at it. So, with 2001 after Jesus Christ, we see Moebius teaming up for the second time with Jean-Luc Coudray. And the first time they did this was with the stories of Mr. Mouche, which we covered in the previous video. And the format of this book is quite similar in many ways. It is a unique little book with the short, absurd stories that hit the reader one after the other, while accompanied by the playful art of Moebius. And a fun fact about this one, which I recently discovered, is that Moebius deliberately made this character of Mr. Mouche into a sort of mystical Tintin. Or Tintin, depending on where you come from, which is accompanied in each panel by a prehistoric chicken. And I often ask myself, why is this here? Every panel has this character. What is it supposed to be? And I finally found out that this was supposed to represent Tintin's dog, Milou. And of course, the dog follows Tintin everywhere, and in this case, he follows Mr. Mouche as well. And personally, I love these small anecdotes. I wish I would have found out about this in the previous video, so you could have gotten it there when I reviewed this book. But you know, I found out about it later, so you know, here you go, you have it now. Anyways, I think these small anecdotes really make this work so much more enjoyable and rich with layers. Anyways, back to our main book for today. When creating Mr. Mouche, they had planned to continue the project beyond these few pages of the first volume, but the publisher went bankrupt and the project was interrupted. Jean-Luc was not very happy about this, but decided to continue this partnership in a different form and sent Moebius the text of After Jesus Christ, hoping that he would want to collaborate with him again. Time went by and they later met at the French Comic-Con, where Moebius told Jean-Luc that these new texts had been sent to him just at the right moment and cheered him up in a period where he was not feeling great and he had doubts on what he was doing and where he was going with his projects. After Jesus Christ contained an alternation of humor and wit, a bit like with Mr. Mouche, taking as a subject the historical figure of Christ, but reinterpreting him 2,000 years later in a more modern and contemporary form. As Jean-Luc himself said, his own ambivalent relationship with religion, one of attraction and repulsion, was what drove this project, resulting in a non-commitment to a single and well-defined image of Christ, but instead a deliberate attempt to make him different, page after page, both in how he behaves and how he looks, both in the texts and both in the visuals. And another key focus of the book was how it explored the different states of ecstasy of Jesus in relationship to nature. Moebius was particularly interested in these and always had a passion for the sacred, as we can see from all of his work, most of his work. So after reading the text, he told Jean-Luc that he wanted to absolutely work on the project, but that he had to be patient as he needed to open up his schedule. And let's remember, this is the late 90s, and he was at peak career. So I can only imagine what kind of backlog of commission work he had and projects he was working on, etc. And Jean-Luc did. He waited, but he had to wait 4 years for this to happen. But as we can all see, this wait was well worth it. And when we look at the art, we can clearly see how Moebius' contribution adds depth to Jean-Luc's vision. A completely reimagined contemporary Jesus, athletic, dynamic, bohemian, of course Middle Eastern. The lines are clean and minimal, and the colors are earthy and warm. The scenes are often angled with dramatic perspectives as to throw the reader off balance and accentuate the controversy of this new interpretation. Interesting fact is that the title itself of the book was another of Moebius' contribution, as he came up with 2001 After Jesus Christ as a tribute to 2001 A Space Odyssey, the Kubrick movie. But what about the texts? Well, these don't fall so far from the imprint of Mr. Mouche, the other book that I showed you just earlier. But they're definitely more elaborate. Of course, there's a lot more text, as you can see. And quoting Moebius himself, Jean-Luc Coudray presents to us a new Jesus, a Messiah of the New Ages, who speaks to us in the ways he himself chooses, not according to human social justice, but by virtue of a choice which is totally artistic, enigmatic, sometimes clear, sometimes obscure, at times conforming, and at others disturbing. And I would like to end this video with a beautiful quote by Jean-Luc himself, as he tells us about the end and the future of this project. Here we go. At Moebius' request, I wrote a sequel to After Jesus Christ. The project could not be realized for private reasons, having nothing to do with our relationship or artistic motifs. But the writing of this text was an important moment for me, for it was an inversion. I wrote from the drawings of the first book, influenced by how Moebius interpreted the character. I think that the second text, which is still unpublished, further develops what was muted in the first. And this is due to the enthusiasm of this collaboration. Moebius' drawings, their evocation of strangers, their ability to suggest a true world through the simple game of the bizarre, their ability to elevate the myth, or to myth, that is to say, to timelessness, scenes that are a priori simply narrative, unifying the relative and the absolute, gave me the confidence I needed to write my own texts. We always write to express something unspeakable. When this unspeakable falls on fertile ground, by meeting an artist of the magnitude of Moebius, it is a unique opportunity. This confirms the meaning of what is being attempted, when, in many circumstances, there is rarely a satisfactory return. I would therefore like to testify that the fertility of my exchange with Moebius has gone beyond the purely artistic relationship. It was a human, friendly, and intellectual exchange, but it was strangely possible by the mediation of Christ. We are no more Christians than the other, but the image of Jesus was a kind of organ, a place of transcendence, a sublime armchair where we met. And that was Jean-Luc Coudray in March 2012. The sequel he speaks about eventually made it into publishing in 2016, and it is called The Apocryphal Jesus, with a cover illustration by his brother Philippe Coudray. So if you speak French, you can actually read the sequel to this book. And with this, we conclude the review of 2001 After Jesus Christ. Thank you so much for watching, and catch you next time. Bye.